he pops his head out.
He's down there looking for fish.
He's looking for some food. Let's look for his head again.
All right, guys, I'll see you later. It's easy.
It's easy.
Oops, where is it?
Once you get an ant, he'll get a cormorant fixed on you right now. You'll always run.
I don't know where his head is. Where's the cormorant?
Be able to tell them apart is that by the size, male alligators, yes, much bigger than female alligators. And on land right now, looking at all the alligators we have here, maybe one or two. This one here is a male for sure. Smaller male. We have some males in here that are way bigger than this one. But yeah, the majority of the alligators that you're looking at right now on land are going to be females. And yes, you're right, these are rats. Nice and juicy. The alligators love the rats. The reason we like to use the rats is because alligators need calcium. The bones from the rats are easy for the alligators to digest, and that's why we feed, or like to feed the alligators the rats. It's a good source of calcium for them. Every time they lose a tooth, they will grow back another one. That's what they need all that calcium for. And these are farm-raised rats. The rats, we get them in a bag frozen, and we just thaw them out the day before, and then we'll feed them to the alligators, so we don't catch these rats ourselves. And then you're probably wondering, one small bucket of rats, is that going to be enough to feed all of these alligators? And the answer is no, it's not going to be enough to feed all of these alligators. Alligators are cold-blooded animals, and they do not have to eat every single day like us. Alligators can go long periods of time without food. And when an alligator is full grown, for example, a wild alligator out there in the Everglades, if it's having a hard time finding something to eat, they can shut their bodies down, slow down their metabolism, and go anywhere between 2 and 3 years without food. But not the alligators in this pond. These alligators are very well fed. Once a month, we dump in over 1,000 pounds of meat. We use beef, chicken, pork, fish, the farm-raised rats, and 1,000 pounds of meat once a month. That is more than enough to feed all of the alligators in this pond. Being cold-blooded animals, they rely on the sun and the heat from the sun for their bodies to function and digest their food. The more sun they get, the more energy the alligator is going to have. Without proper heat and sunlight, the alligator cannot survive. And a lot of times here in Florida, you might even see an alligator sitting still next to a lake, canal, or just off the side of the road. And the alligator might even look dead. Because of that, people will try to approach those alligators and even try to touch those alligators. And yes, there are reports of people getting attacked that way. If you see an alligator sitting still next to a lake, canal, or just off the side of the road, more than likely the alligator is just basking in the sun, gathering its energy for the day. And when they're doing that, they're sitting still, kind of like these ones here. They might look like a statue or maybe even dead. So if you see an alligator, guys, sitting still next to the lake, canal, side of the road, you always keep a safe distance. You also never want to feed a wild alligator. Alligators have a natural fear of man. But once you feed an alligator, they lose that fear. All it takes is one time. You feed an alligator out in the wild once, and now that alligator is going to start coming up to people looking for food all the time. It is also illegal to feed wild alligators, and when reported, Florida Fish and Wildlife authorities, they will remove those alligators from their habitat and even kill those alligators. For your safety and the safety of the wild alligators here in Florida, never feed a wild alligator. Alligators on land, they have been recorded running up to speeds of 20 miles per hour. They are very fast on land, but there is a catch because they're cold-blooded animals and they also have very small lungs. Along with those short and stubby arms and legs, they cannot sustain those speeds for a long time. So just short distance, and they'll gas out very fast. So they're more dangerous near the water or in the water. Close to the water is where it's very dangerous, if there's alligators nearby. But on land, an alligator will never bother you. They're not going to chase after you. You never want to be in the water with an alligator. If you're in the water with an alligator, the only thing the alligator might see is your little head above the water. And the alligator might mistake your tiny little head as a small bird, small duck, or maybe even a small mammal like one of these rats, and the alligator will approach you in the water. More than likely, the alligator is going to attack you, take you under the water, drown you, and once under the water, the alligator will finally realize that it cannot swallow your full body. Alligators will never go after anything and try to eat it if they can see how big it is. And if an alligator knows it cannot swallow something whole, it's not going to go after it and try to eat it. Human beings are not on the menu for alligators. Alligators are not known man-eaters like some crocodiles. But yes, people have been attacked here in Florida. Being in the water with an alligator, your chances of getting attacked goes up a lot more. If you're not from Florida and you want to go for a swim, you might want to stick to the pools or the beaches. Leave the lakes and the canals to the alligators. Anywhere in Florida where there is fresh water, you have to assume that there is an alligator that lives in that water. And I like to tell everybody that comes to the farm, if you want to take your dog for a walk here in Florida, do not take him for a walk next to the lakes and the canals, guys. Alligators cannot swallow their food under the water. They have to bring their heads out of the water in order to swallow what they're eating. If the alligator swallows too much water, the alligator can drown. So let's get one more rat out there. Alright, I tried. But my favorite part of the show, if there's anyone here that has any friends or family members that they do not like, preferably small children, I can help you get rid of them now. I'm kidding, guys. I want to thank you all for coming out. That does conclude my alligator feeding demonstration. And if you enjoyed the show, please feel free to show your appreciation. Thank you all for coming out. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Have a good one. I have a little bit of sand here in my hand. Watch closely. Listen closely as well, guys. So I threw the sand in there. You saw him shut his jaws. The natural reaction for the alligator, slam those jaws shut right away anytime something touches the inside of their mouth. And the full bite force of an alligator this size is going to be around 2,000, 3,000 pounds per square inch. And that is more than enough power to crack bones and even crush open turtle shells. Let's try it one more time, see if we can get him to give us a good one. Not today, huh? All right, so let's turn him around. And no worries, dragging the alligator by the tail does not harm the alligator. The entire back and tail of the alligator is full of skin-covered bone plates that protect the alligator like body armor. And because alligators are apex predators here in Florida when they're full grown, no other animal except another alligator is messing with a full-grown alligator. And that's what that extra protection on the back is for. Alright. The first technique I'm going to show you today, this technique is called the quick capture. And once on the back of the alligator, one stunt that made these shows very famous. Showing everybody all 80 teeth of the alligator. 40 teeth on the top jaw, 40 teeth on the bottom jaw. And if the alligator loses a tooth, there is going to be another tooth growing back to replace the missing one. Alligators can go through around 2,000 sets of teeth throughout their entire lifespan. And if you look closely to the back of the alligator's throat, you can see that it's sealed shut. The back of the alligator's throat is called the glottis. The glottis is used when the alligator grabs its prey outside of the water, drags its prey back into the water, drowns its prey, but not drown itself. At the top of the alligator's snout, the nostrils, the nose of the alligator, alligators can only breathe through their nostrils. Right there at the top of the snout. Skull of the alligator, skin-covered bone, barely any filling on the skull of the alligator. Makes it another weapon for the alligator. If the alligator starts swinging these jaws around at full force, and even with the jaws closed, my leg, my arm gets in the way. More than enough power to snap my leg or even my arm in half. The alligator's eyes are right here, pointed off to the side. And because the eyes are pointed off to the side, alligators cannot see directly in front of them. Only off to their sides. Just below the eyes, these little flaps right here, these are the ears of the alligator. And when the alligator is underwater, the alligator is going to seal those ears shut so that no water can enter the ear canals of the alligator. And just between the ears, the center of the alligator's head, right here where I'm pointing my finger, right under there, that's going to be where the alligator's brain is located. And the alligator's brain, only around the same size as my thumbnail. And with a brain that small, that does mean the alligator is an instinctual animal. You cannot train alligators. The next technique I'm going to show you now, this technique is called bulldogging.
Саша, тебе видно?
And the bulldogging technique was used to tie the jaws of the alligator. Sometimes the natives, they would have to go out and hunt alligators alone. And they needed a way to tie the jaws for just one person. That is how they would do it. All right, guys, my favorite part of the show coming up right now. That is getting off the alligator. I want to remind everybody, alligators are not your friends, they're not your buddies, and they make horrible pets. Out in the wild, they are fast enough to catch small dogs, small cats, and even small flying birds. Catching one of us is not a problem for an alligator. And if you see an alligator, you always keep a safe distance. I want to thank you all for coming out. That does conclude my alligator show. And if you enjoyed the show, please feel free to show your appreciation on the way out. Before you leave, guys, if you would like to hold an alligator, come on down.
Саша.
2 hands. 1 hand.